Hi, this is Jim Woods. This video is in response to MiniAmericanFlag's video, in which he said he thought he found an error in objectivism, specifically related to a contradiction between morality and politics. What he is looking at is that the idea that the initiation of force, being immoral, contradicts the objectivist position that a government with a monopoly on the use of retaliatory force is necessary to protect individual rights. So, to look at this from an objectivist position, let's do something that objectivists will do. Let's look at reality. What's behind that statement? What is it actually referring to? When you say that government, to have a monopoly, must initiate force. Zonderverse, when he usually makes this position, says that it's about economics, about competition, that other people aren't allowed to perform those services that are exclusive to the government through its monopoly on the use of retaliatory force. So what exactly are these services? The issue would be criminal justice. What these other services are that you're advocating, not you specifically, but this idea is advocating, would be that other people could perform criminal justice functions of arresting people, trying them, sentencing them, punishing them, imposing fines, prison, and execution. Also, the second part of what is being initiated with force against, supposedly by the government, is war-making powers. So I, as an individual person, can't recruit a private army to go and invade Iran because they've been violating the rights of American citizens. Now, in that last bit, whenever I'm referring to initiation of force by government, that should be in scare quotes, because I'm not arguing that the government ever, in these instances, is actually initiating force. I'm talking towards the point that is being discussed. Actually, the use of force by government, by definition, is retaliatory in nature. That it is a response to the violation of someone's rights. And that the reason why there is this monopoly on the legitimate use of retaliatory force by the government is that it puts this force under objective law. Really what's happening when you're throwing the government out is you're throwing out any objective law. This is an important point and contention that I have with people that generally make this argument about government initiating force and saying that somehow these private entities will be all rational and that market forces amongst competing protective societies, agencies, will cause them all to act reasonably. It smacks me too much of Rousseau and the idea of the general will and of the great legislator. Whenever you bring any objections up to this idea on these terms, they always come up and say, your objection isn't valid because, of course, everybody will behave in this set way, but there's no way to say how that occurs because in getting rid of the government, they've also gotten rid of the legislature. Okay, so let's, for a moment, look at what would happen in the event that there was no government, there was no objective law regulating the use of retaliatory force. In this context, I think it's important to recognize that there are historical precedents that we can look at that would explain to us what would happen in this theoretical scenario. One example that I would point to is if you investigate the history of the Chinese gang, the Triads. They began as a protective brotherhood in a state of essential anarchy as a way to protect their membership. Specifically, recently, where I live, there was a case of a teenage girl reporting a home invasion. So as our case study, let's examine that. That this girl has reported a home invasion. I suppose that in this system in which there are various protective society or groups, companies that you can choose from, just like you do with your home alarm system, for protective services, since there is no government, that you can either hire them ongoing or ad hoc on an event basis. I'm going to describe this from the ad hoc. This event happens, I'm going to hire somebody to address this problem. However, if you look at the essentials of it, the example works either way. Someone could have an existing relationship with one of these organizations. So, this teenager has reported a home invasion. Who is she going to hire, since there's no government, to take care of protecting her rights? Let's say that one of the organizations that she has potential to hire is Al-Qaeda. So, in response to the fact that her home was invaded, what is Al-Qaeda going to do to help protect her rights when there's no objective law? Well, they're going to start killing infidels to please Allah. Well, she might not like that particular plan for resolving the problem that she's had, and so next she calls in the next interviewee, and it's the Ku Klux Klan. Well, history has demonstrated what the Klan will do when a teenage girl is reporting that she's been violated. The other organization that she might call on for services is the Mafia. After all, they do protection, right? And they'll contract to punish somebody for you. Or maybe she could hire the Hatfields. Of course, the only thing they're going to start doing is shooting the McCoys. Now, at this point, you might just think that Jim's just making jokes, that he's not taking this issue seriously. However, in contrast to the people that deduce the conclusion that MiniAmericanFlag is talking about and advocate for it, I'm actually making reference to reality, to historical precedences. Every one of the organizations that I cited did say that what they were doing in similar cases was offering protection. At this point, you should be concerned about this poor girl that reported the home invasion, because she's real. She had a real problem, and there was a real response to it. And what was found out was that she was lying. There was no home invasion. That was determined thanks to government operating under objective law. So, to summarize, by looking at reality and validating the deduced conclusions by comparing these two ideas, what we determined was that the two ideas were taken out of context, and therefore the conclusion was invalid.